Hi, this is Hasmik. Today I'm going to make you one of my favorite and also one of very well-known dishes everywhere, whoever likes it. I'm going to call it vegetarian. However, I'm going to make both vegetarian and meat version of this food. So it is called either mosamba, Khorish badumjan, or if you will, eggplant stew. So for this recipe, we need 5 big eggplants. If you're using this kind of eggplant, either 5 big eggplants, or if you are going to use the small ones, 10 of these. So the way what we are going to do, I'm going to show you how to peel this. Now that you don't know, but for this purpose, we are going to need salt, pepper, turmeric for sure, and curry powder. We are going to need 5 medium-sized tomatoes, and we are going to need 2 big bell pepper, red bell pepper, and we are going to have one big onion. So let's start. Oh, and before I forget, we eat this food with basmati rice, or any kind of rice you eat. And for basmati rice, you can check my basmati rice video with 2 different headings. So let's start. So if you're using this big eggplants, this is how we peel them. So what we do, we peel them skip a row, because not only it's gonna look nice, it somehow it's delicious too. So this is how we peel it. We will skip a row. We peel. This is good. So you're gonna cut it. This is how we cut it. Not too thin and not too thick, because we are gonna fry this. So you put it in a big pot, and if you use the small ones, this is what you do. Again, you just skip a row, you peel the skin, and if they are not too thick, you just give a cut like this. Okay, so then you put them in a pot. You add 1 teaspoonful of salt, and fill it with water, and let it stay in water for like half an hour, 40 minutes. The reason we do that, because as you will see, your water is going to turn black, because it's going to get all the darkness out of the eggplant. And after half an hour, we will take these eggplants, we pat them dry, and we will fry them. Okay, what I do with tomatoes, if they're big, I cut them in 3 slices. However, if they're small, you just cut them in 2, and we are going to fry these also. What I do with the bell pepper, the same thing with the bell pepper. You cut them in half, you clean it, and cut them in wedges like this. We also are going to fry this too. The other thing I want to say, when you're frying the eggplants, you will see eggplant absorbs a lot of oil. But don't worry about it. After you're done, you can, all the oil is going to come on the bottom, or when the food is done, it's going to come on top. So you can carefully clean them. With onion, this is what we do with onion. We are going to chop the onion like this, because we don't want them too small, because these nothing are going to get fried. We are going to bake them too with our food. Okay, I'll add half a cup of oil to my pan, and then we'll start frying our eggplants. And like I said, you are going to need a lot of oil, because the eggplant absorbs a lot of oil, but at the end it comes out when you're cooking. Okay, we are done with our eggplants. So in the same pot, we are going to add our bell pepper. Be careful, the oil is hot. We don't want to burn our bell peppers, but we want to give them a char, so they kind of get a nice char, so they give additional taste to our soup. Okay, you want to give a little stir. So now what I'll do, I'm going to add just less than half a teaspoonful of salt, because we already have some salt in our eggplant. Half a teaspoonful of turmeric, half a teaspoonful of black pepper, and half a teaspoonful of curry powder. This is for the vegetable version, but if you do a meat version, we add these spices when we are cooking our meat, which I'm going to show you later because I've already cooked them. So we get this part done. So now pull this aside and you add your tomatoes. And do the same thing with the tomatoes. You kind of not fry, but kind of sear the tomatoes. So get all the big layer of the pan and get all the flavor. Okay, we add like 3 tablespoons of oil, and we put our onions there. Okay, our onion is done too, so let's assemble them. Okay, so this is what, if you wanna make this cook it with meat, what you need is 3 pounds of chuck tender or any beef stew meat. And what I did was I cut them in cubes and cooked them. And I also have added some salt and pepper and seasoning to it. So you cook this well, and it has some juice too. So if you're doing it with meat, you're gonna have more. You're gonna need a bigger container because you're gonna have some of the juice, the gravy of the meat. You don't want to waste it. So for assembly, if you're using meat, what you do, you put the meat first. So you put the meat first, then you will go with the eggplant. So you put your eggplant nicely. You put them in the bottom, okay. Put our eggplants first. So all of the eggplants, put them in the first row. And like I said, it creates a lot of oil because it absorbs a lot of oil. Okay, eggplant first. Then I'm gonna set my bell peppers next. Bell peppers go second. So you just arrange them on your eggplants. Okay. And then tomatoes. Tomatoes go on top of the bell peppers. Okay, I have a little more of this eggplants, but I'm not gonna use it. And the last thing is our onions. Caramelized onions. The onions go all on top of the everything else. So like I said, if you have meat, you probably have some juice. You add the juice because you don't want to waste it. But if vegetarian, you don't need to add any water or anything. What you do, you turn on the oven to 350, and okay, I have already turned on the oven to 350, so I'm gonna tightly cover my pan in foil and cook it for 40-45 minutes with closed. But again, you have to check like every 10-15 minutes check, and you don't want all the juice to be gone, and you also don't want to have a watery stew. So 40-45 minutes with closed lid or a tight foil, and another 30-40 minutes without lid. However, you have to check and make sure you don't lose all the juice. Okay, I'll put this in the oven. Okay, it's been like an hour and a half. So we cooked each of our pots, Actually, the vegetarian and also the one with meat, you cook like 1 hour with the tight covered foil, and 30 minutes without foil. But in the meantime, you can always check, because you don't want it to have no juice, or you don't want it to have too much juice. So especially with meat, because if you use meat, your meat sometimes, most of the time, your meat has gravy, and you don't want to waste that gravy. You're gonna add that gravy to your pan. So make sure that you don't lose all that gravy. So again, it's like altogether an hour and a half, but you have to check every 10-15 minutes, make sure it has some juice, or it's not drained, or it's burnt. So let's taste it. It looks so beautiful and appetizing. I can't wait to taste it. And for rice, I made actually you can watch my basmati rice with 2 different tahdiks, bread tahdik and the potato tahdik. So I made my pot was big. Half of it I put the bread tahdik, and half of it potato tahdik. So like I said, we normally eat this with the rice. It's eggplant stew, or badumjan, khoresh, or mosamba, whatever you call it. But we eat it with rice. So check out the rice recipe in my basmati rice recipe. So let's try it. Let's taste it. It looks so delicious and smells so good too. So I'm going to taste some of the meat one, some of the tomatoes, some of the eggplant, and then it tastes so delicious. I'm gonna taste some of the vegetarian one too. You know, the caramelized onion, it tastes so good. Well, I hope you make it and enjoy it. It tastes so delicious. And thanks for watching. And don't forget, subscribe. Bye. See you next time.